So good morning once again. Thank you so much for coming through. I'm happy to already see the seats filled in. This is a layout of our program. Yes, so most of our time will be in the greenhouse. So we'll take a look at the structure and some varieties, and we'll have some interesting conversations with Maniko and Jared. And then we'll also have a small retail safari just outside the greenhouse and some networking and refreshments. So to start with, I will just invite our host, Mr. Chishapolotia, to just welcome us and introduce us to the farm.
Mondo Farms would not be what it is without the input that we get from Holland Greentech. And we are always so proud of our long relationship with Holland Greentech that we've had since 2021 when we first started out at the other farm when we were growing the broccolis and the cauliflowers. Later on, they introduced us to Rijk Zwaan, which is our very important input provider. And we'll be hearing a lot more from them later. Last year in November, we held a open field farming demo field day, and that was very successful. And now that we've had our first greenhouse here at Kimberley, we decided let's have another field day to bring people in and focus in more specifically on greenhouse farming.
It's an amazing achievement to put growers together to showcase not only products but also new initiatives, new opportunities, and that's really in the essence of what we're trying to also achieve as Rijk Zwaan. We really want to bring good value to our clients and to create opportunities for them to advance their businesses. So I've been working for Rijk Zwaan almost now 10 years in numerous different roles and capacities. Currently I'm responsible for product development of cucumbers, but I've been active in product development of our whole assortment now for many years. And I'll give some more context with my presentation a little bit later. But I hope today I can also share some of my perspective of the commercial farming industry out of South Africa, experiences that we built up there, and hopefully also entice you to grow, initiate this evolution that you are active in currently in your quest to advance your horticultural industry. Thank you.
I want to welcome you all to the Agricultural Field Day here at Mondo Farms. We are so excited. We want to explore new ideas, new innovations. My hope is that you'll be free to share your ideas. Also, we have an exchange of ideas, of course. I'll do the superstructure that you're seeing behind you is what the main thing that has brought us here, and we did a construction, so I'll indulge you most in that technical part of the structure. Thank you very much.
I'm Wemba from Livestock. As mentioned, I'm the sales manager there. So Livestock is a Christian organization as well as running schools and farms. So we've got a huge market for export as well as local. So we specialize in producing high value fruits and crops, and also we like to work with outgrowers and other producers to be able to get products to the export market especially, and a bit of local. And we're excited to be here to be part of this great opportunity and contribute effectively to the growth of Zambia as a whole.
So what Holland Greentech does is to ensure that you are making the next step. We are a consultancy and service company providing inputs as a complementary service. So our main business is to make sure that farmers are advancing in their production, they are actually making business from their farming, and that they are using competitive quality inputs from around the world. So we partner with different suppliers from mainly Europe. So Rijk Zwaan from the Netherlands, Rivelis is a French company. Quinta, our most recent supplier for the greenhouses, is Lebanese. And we also deal in corporate products for biological solutions and soil testing. So I also hope that this will be especially beneficial for those who already have the units, but also that those who are planning on investing in these units would really know the business behind the units. So the lifespan of the unit is 15 years. That's because of the structure and the quality of the components in it. And other things like plastic films and nets are renewed every 3 years. From dust and wind, at least their lifespan is about 3 years. So for today, we are looking at the Africa 14, which is a width of 14 and a length of 36. I will share this presentation in the WhatsApp group. So the business cases are for tomatoes, habaneros, and sweet pepper. So I don't yet have data for the Zambia situation. The business case I'm showing you today is based on a business case we made in Rwanda. So I'll quickly just show you the business case from Rwanda, and then we'll run through as an exercise to make our own business case here. So a lot of things are similar. So the first part of our business case is the revenue projection. So because we are looking at cucumbers today, we'll focus on cucumbers. So you can use these sheets to play with anything that you're planting: sweet peppers, cucumbers, lettuce, or anything. So we'll do a long cucumber here. So the yield per plant per season also depend on the management capacity of the farmer. If we take into consideration our average variety, which is Bologna, you expect to have 16 to 20 fruits per plant. We can take the very pessimistic number of 12 fruits per plant. For the first 3 seasons, in this analysis, you will not yet make profit, but you start making your positive profits at the 4th. So the most interesting part is here, the profit and loss analysis. I remember having this conversation earlier in the week with Mr. Sinkamba here. And one thing I always struggle with is getting this data and precise figures for the greenhouse. Not so many of you are good at keeping records. I don't know if there are no financial templates to do it easily, or we are scared of seeing the actual figures on paper. But this, for most people, is very hard, I'm sure you know. Yeah. So there are many ways of doing your profit and loss analysis. To get a good look on your return on investment and the payback period, we lump summed the total investment cost just in one season so that we can really have a good view of the return on investment and the payback.
When you're talking about the yield, it's the cycle of a year. So in this case, the cycle is talking about the plant's life,
Yes.
not the total financial year.
Try our best at Holland Greentech to link you to markets that will give you good prices. So that is why today we'll really emphasize on variety selection, why you need to prune a certain way, why you need to extend your varieties to a certain month in the cycle. It all goes to increasing your revenue. So you see the significant effects that an increase in yield from 12 fruits per plant to 20 fruits per plant really has a big bearing on when you start realizing your positive profits.
What I would simply say is that soil should remain alive. If your soil is alive, it will be able to give you whatever yields that you need. That's a foundation. Without the foundation, then there will be nothing. We are from AgriFocus. one of the partners to Holland Greentech. It is up to the farmers to understand the soil science that is behind, what can make a good soil. Remember that slogan again. Detect, prevent, control. You are talking of eggs, in your crop that have been laid by an insect. We've got solutions for that, and that's where things like Biotrin, and the ivermectins work. For my farmers who may not know the difference between ivermectin, benzoate, and ivermectins, again, you need to know, because those two, they work differently. Yeah? They affect the insects totally differently, but in the same family. So, like the way it is, as hot as it is, if you apply your ivermectin benzoate, you will find that they are not very effective. So go for the Biotrin, which is an ivermectin, and is 5% concentration.
It's easier to bring the plants to balance between generative and vegetative if you're using a more organic and softer form of nitrogen like Sigro. So just a brief about what this product can do. You can, one, drench it in the soil, so you feed it through the plant roots. And what that does, it strengthens the root hairs, it strengthens the roots of the plant, and enhances the microbial activity around the plants. So because the roots become strong, the plant's susceptibility to fungal infections like downy mildew and powdery mildew are also minimized. You need the plant to be a bit strong before it can take up the amino acids. So at least at 4 weeks to really activate the roots. The second application will be at flowering. So it has the essential micronutrients, your boron, zinc, iron. So if the plant is just at its flowering stage, this really helps to curb abortions, and it also helps the plant to stabilize between transitioning from vegetative stage to flowering, where it will start producing fruits. So when you see it about to flower, that is your second application. Your third application will be at fruit sets. Because it has potassium, it has the organic form of nitrogen and some micronutrients, it will also push the plant into flowering a bit better. Plants, as they exist in nature, take up nutrients better from the root system than the leaves. I know that for most farmers, they prefer to use foliar fertilizers because they are cheaper. But remember, I don't know if most of you know, if you are applying foliar fertilizers, the plant is only capable of taking up about 10% of what you are applying. And most nutrients are also immobile. So you can't apply things like calcium, potassium through the leaves. It won't travel. It will just be where you've spread it. So it will not travel throughout the plant. So when you drench, God made the plant in the way that it's easy for everything to travel through the root system and the vascular system of the plant. So foliars are mainly just to supplement. There's a deficiency, there's an abortion of flowers, then you just add foliars as a drench. But your fertilizer program should be tailored to take up nutrients from the roots.
It's important. People need to identify your product on the market against your competitors. You need to always supply a high quality product, because if you supply a low quality product, it will never get sold.
In terms of the times of year and the pricing, does it move much, or what do you find is the best time to have cucumber on the market or not? Someone's going to answer. They are experienced minds here. The
prices are better around January to March, because a lot of farmers suffer with
for the more polarized markets like Freshmark, the other chain stores like Choppies, Food Lovers, you fix the price when you are doing the contract. So, for example, with Freshmark, our price has been fixed for about 2 years now, depending on whatever season you're in. But then when it comes to production, of course, right now we are producing more, and if you go on the open market, the market is flooded. If you are in that formalized market, you can still push numbers, but then if you take your products to the open market, you find each cucumber is selling for 5 kwacha, 4 kwacha, while the other guys are getting at 850 to 10 kwacha per cucumber. So it highly depends on which market you're targeting.
So if you see in this greenhouse is over 70% net. We only have a plastic on top, a plastic on top here on the sides, and then the plastic at the bottom there, at the bottom rail. So it's 70% net so that you can at least feel this cool breeze as you're inside working. And it's also good environment for the plant. So cold air will be coming in through the sides. We know that warm air is lighter than cold air. So the warm air is the one that will rise and go out through that vent. The orientation of this greenhouse is in such that is in a way that cold air is coming in from the east to the west. So as that warm air is rising to the top, that cold air that is coming like this, it's blowing that air out. So that process continues like that, then it gives that proper environment to the greenhouse in here. If you look at the height of this greenhouse, it's 5 meters from here to the top. So the gutter height, where the gutters are placed there, that's 3 meters from the ground. Then this here, this pole up to the vent, that's where the vent starts from there. It's 1.25 meters. Then the vent itself is 75 centimeters. So all of these measurements are by design. They were tested so that they can achieve the convection current, the coolness that you can feel in here right now. So before we place those poles, we had to compact this place and make it as flat as we can. It's not so flat, but it wasn't this flat the time that we're here. So Mr. Folotier and the team made it flat, compacted it, then we came put in these foundation poles. And if you can see, it's both a nut. There's no welding done on this structure. So you can also easily move it to another place if you wanted to move it. Let's say, remember this is called Kimberley. Let's say they found gold here. And you know the government, 6 feet under, it's not your land. And then they will say that, Mr. Volunteer, I'm not saying this will happen. Yeah, but yeah, so you can easily move it to maybe Winterthorn or another farm. So you can just unscrew it, pack it up, and move it to another farm. From up there, water comes in by gravity, and then there's a pipe that joins to come into the greenhouse here. That's where we're draining these. So this is a D2000 T-tap. If you can you try and touch it? If you're closer to it, try and touch it. You touch the T-tap. You feel the thickness. That's 0.7 millimeters. It's closer to a class 3 poly pipe. So with good management, this drip line, we like talking about durability, it's going to last you over 7 years. So then it's also got proper emissions. If you've seen, the whole place is wet. So when one emitter emits, it collides with the other one. So the whole place is wet. So even as you're doing your planting, you will not follow where the emitter is, but you plant according to the plant spacing that it requires. Because you can use this greenhouse to plant different crops. Yeah, I will leave it to, I hope this is enough technical information. I'll leave it to Gerard. Yeah, Gerard, please pick it up.
As explained with Tantalos, this is a variety that I prefer for these type of time of the year. Summer plantings, we were heading into the depth of summer. The variety has proven to be quite resilient under these conditions. And if we compare it to the whole greenhouse, I think between Tantalos and Paranonas, it's the two more vigorous growing varieties under these conditions. we can actually have a look at one of these plants here with the fruit sets and look at the amount of fruit sets that it has currently, the amount of flowers that top. But I want to have a perspective to the history of this plant. And if I look at the amount of fruit that it already delivered, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fruit that on average, and we've counted plants that it already delivered 5 fruit for its production cycle. It had, but it can be of the fruit load and circumstances, but it is starting to set now very nicely, and it will continue, and all of these fruit will be harvestable. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fruit, and there already you have about a yield of 13 fruit, and we're not even close to the wire or over the wire yet. So the yield potential of the variety is excellent. And here you can have a perfect example of the blue leaf color. If you compare this with the Diapason is not the blue leaf variety, where the Tantalos is, and you can some differences in that. If I want to have a perspective to the plant's vigor and physiological state, I can actually show you a few examples, and this will help you also to read the plant and know what management practices you need to implement for certain periods or certain conditions throughout the cultivation cycle. So while we are at Tantalos, it's actually a very nice plant to demonstrate this on. So I like to have a look at the internodal length, so the distances between each leaf, and I like to have a look at the distance from my growth point to my first open flower. So this is my first open flower, and I look at, I try to identify if this plant is in balance, if it is generative or if it's vegetative. Just a quick summary of those two characteristics. Generative physiological nature of the plant is when it prioritizes fruit development, not leaf growth, not foliage growth. Vegetative physiological state is when the plant prioritizes leaf growth and internodal growth. So Maritimo is the variety that we gave reference to of being very adaptable in varying climatic conditions. We had a reference that this was the variety so far delivering the highest yield within the greenhouse. And we can clearly see that also if we look at the amount of production coming through the plant, but it's also a bit more generative. You can see that the internodes are much shorter, and it had a few abortions there, or fruit pruning there. I expect, here you can see that comparison that I made with the open flower. Look how close is that open flower to the growth point to the top. So it is definitely a more generative variety, and my recommendation for anybody considering planting Maritimo is the harder you work with the plant, the more it will reward you. And Maritimo is just exactly a perfect example. If you stick to the fruit pruning, if you manage the plant well, if you look at that physiological balance, you will have exceptional yields out of this variety with really good fruit quality. The fruit quality is, for me, one of the better varieties within the market. It's sometimes a problem having fruit with a long neck. They don't like that so much. So and because this variety, especially in overcast weather, maintains its vigor very well, while a variety like Tantalos or Diapason will slow down its growth and have low production over those conditions, while Maritimo will maintain its momentum.
Thank you for that question. Durability, of course, is the most important thing. The plastic will last 33 months. That is 2 years, I'll say over 2 years.
Crop rotation can serve either two purposes. One is either to break the disease cycle as efficiently as possible, and to also rectify whatever has been depleted out of the soil, or either it is just creating the pools within the disease cycle and still have a cash crop that you have some revenue out of.
On the soil that you use for compaction, don't you think has got an effect on the crop rotation? Or maybe did you get just another soil to do the compaction?
We've got two types of soil that we use. So there's the gravel soil, the gravel that we put at the base. So that's got good drainage, and it helps water percolate, move out. Then the topsoil that we use for cultivation. So what's on top there is what we put for cultivation, about 50 centimeters thickness, the depth of it. So it helps us grow crops without any problems.
Would that be east to west or west to south, depending on the availability of land? Or does that matter?
Yes, it does matter because so obviously for you to achieve that natural ventilation that is there, where the wind is coming from. So in this case, wind moves from east to west in this direction. So then we orient the greenhouse like this so that it can be scooping off the heat that is coming from the greenhouse inside it.
I'll tell you the story of this particular land. Now at Winterthorn, there's no power. Here you can see a TB for 50 kV transformer there. Kuno Nikumayad. And we've decided to focus our main vegetable productions here because we can pump better water, we can put in refrigeration. It's also very close to town. So when you grow some of those crazy high value crops, two in particular which are problematic for frequency of harvests, one is lettuce, the other one is zucchini, otherwise known as baby marrow. When we were that side growing them, we struggled to make it work because it's quite a good distance to get there. So you need to grow them near town. What I'm noticing here is that I've written down the plans. And it's really important in business to be able to write down your plan and tell them to somebody, because then there's the concept of what's called concept of accountability. You said you were going to do a borehole. Have you done the borehole? You said, when you see there was this problem of mpox. Excuses will come later, but at least you wrote down your plan and it was there. Because as we say on the channel, farming is a business, right? It's passion and we love it, but it's also a business. And we're supposed to make some money out of it, right? The Zambian problem is that we like farming as a passion, but we need to be passionate about making money. So thank you very much. I know we'll be getting a chance to graze very soon. Yeah. Nous avons faim. Thank you very much. God bless. Good night.
And for now, thank you so much. And now we have Chef Zanyam. Sure. All right, so at the back, we can have some meat and more interactions, and we call it a day. Thank you so much for being here.